Here is our public safety. Public safety represents 52% of our budget for this next year. Excuse me. The largest portion of that would be the adult jail. The sheriff's office is second, followed by juvenile detention. And as you can see, there's the estimated budget for each of them, 60.7 million for the jail, 57.8 for the sheriff's. Those are the two largest budgets by far. We also have the authorized FTEs, and then how many of those FTEs are included in the budget. As you know, we have quite a number of openings in both of these departments, whether for corrections officers or for sheriff's deputies. And so when we set the budget amount, we have assumed that we will have some vacancies during the year. And so we have reduced the budget for those vacancies. We've reduced it for 30 detention services people and 20, thought it was 23 for the sheriff's office. Yes, Chris.
If we have a really great hiring year, which we hope for, do we do a budget amendment mid-year?
We would need to do a budget amendment next year. Okay. Kind of like what we've done twice this year already, where we've said, hey, we need to move some money around. Yes, we would. That's how we would handle that. Oh, and also the sheriff's office did plan their overtime, well, sheriff's and detention. They've both planned their overtime based on current trends. And so if we hire those people, the overtime is going to go down. So that will also help offset some of the cost increase. So the budget amendment may not be that large. As you look down at the sheriff, it looks kind of odd. The sheriff, like I talked about, money that moved from 22 to 23, the sheriff's office is one of those. If you, for example, the sheriff's office in 22, we had ordered a bunch of police vehicles. That order did not come in. So Ford gave us 2 orders of vehicles in 23. So that budget moved forward. If we were to back out those one-time things and for the real-time crime center, that number would really be 59.9. And once we add the capital budget for the sheriff this year, that would go up to 60.8 million. So it is a slight increase, even though this graph, the numbers haven't been moved around or put where they were originally budgeted. Mary.
So clarifying that the real-time crime center, that was through ARP dollars.
It was through ARP dollars. It was some one-time monies, but we did spend some money in that general fund, and then we paid for it through the ARP. That is correct.
Thank you. Just that's part of what's causing that.
And yeah, and we've had a lot of one-time money in the last few years since COVID, and that is what is causing a lot of these. When you be very normal, you're seeing blips all over the place because of those one-time monies. So next slide. This is the justice section of our budget, which is 19% of our budget. This includes the prosecuting attorney, public defense, the courts, law and justice. As you can see, the largest two are the defense area, whether it be the prosecuting attorney or the public defense. That's about 28.2 million, and then followed by Superior Court and District Court. And as you look at the trend lines down below, they are very standard. One thing that you will notice is that Superior Court is going up this year, and that is because we have budgeted for the 13th Superior Court judge for 2024, which not only includes the judge, but it includes the court reporter and the judicial assistant. Any questions on that page? All right, we'll go to the next one. This next page is more of the general government. So the departments that do services for the general public or just for the government as a whole. So we have facilities, we have the auditor's office, the assessor, the treasurer, your office, and then just general miscellaneous funds. Those total only 13% of the total budget, with facilities being the largest part, of course. Facilities number, when you look at the graphs on the bottom, that number will grow a little bit more when we put the budgeted capital projects in the correct category. Right now, they're all sitting in non-departmental until we actually decide what we're going to fund. I haven't put them where they belong, so they're going to be in non-departmental for right now. But some of that will go to facilities, and that number will increase and will exceed last year's because of that capital. And the other note on this one is the treasurer's office. You see that dipping down. The reason that one is dipping down is because 7 employees are moving from the general fund to the solid waste fund as of April 1st of next year. And so that decrease is because of that movement of those people. Otherwise, it would have been a small increase going into 2024. Any questions on that page?
Why is that happening?
They were under the expense of the treasurer's office, but then solid waste paid the treasurer's office to do that. So solid waste was incurring the expense anyway. And treasurer's office and solid waste decided that they would like to have those employees be part of solid waste, because what they are doing is actually collecting money for solid waste. So it doesn't affect the general fund from a budget standpoint, but it reduces our revenue and our expense by the same amount.
Well, and that partly that all happened when the city of Spokane, Spokane County took over the transfer stations for the city of Spokane. And the treasurer's office was most equipped to do the cash handling at that point in time. So that was part of it back in, I think, 2015.
Thank you for the history. The next slide, please. This is Parks and Recreation. It's primarily Parks and Recreation. We call it recreation because we did include cooperative extension. As you can see, the estimated budget for parks this next year is $4.4 million. It looks like a huge decrease from last year of 6.3 or from the current year, but we did have a bunch of ARP and other capital vehicle purchases that if we took those one-time things out of there, that would have reduced last year to 4.2 million. And then also, like I said, we do have a bunch of capital projects where right now it is, we don't have any general fund dollars currently planned, but if you did allocate some, that would get added to this column. But normally you would see it going from 3.6 to 4 to 4.2 to 4.4, but for those one-time expenses that we took out of the general fund for the parks. Any questions on that? Here's the other non-departmental. Number of things hit this department. This is where we currently have all of the capital planned, $9.3 million that we haven't allocated out to the departments. This is a decrease from last year, but last year we had a lot of one-time money in there also. And I know Tessa has that off the top of her head, probably. Internal services, that is just truly a decrease in costs. We had some one-time purchases, well, a few one-time purchases last year, but this year is a big, 2024 will be a big upgrade, but we are using one-time money from ARP to pay for that. So that is not hitting our budget this year, which is why that is dipping down, whereas we normally would see that about 600,000 higher than we're showing it right now. Any other questions on this spreadsheet? All right, next, Ron. Excuse me. So in the budget, here are the things that we've invested in. We've invested in the 13th Superior Court judge and the whole team that goes with it, which is the court reporter, the judicial assistant, and then also the Superior Court clerk. Currently in this budget, we are looking at replacing about 20 vehicles for the sheriff's department. And we're also looking at doing some repairs to the juvenile detention facility, some other campus improvements. And we are considering the judgment clerk that is built into this number. That is the additional judgment clerk that the clerk of courts has asked for. I know it's not been accepted yet, but that is one of the items we have built into this budget if you do proceed with this budget to adopt it. And lastly, this is what, we have like I said, it looks like our overall expenses are decreasing 1.6 million. But if you move that 10 million and put it back into 22 where it belonged, it would show a slight increase. The next roundtable will be to talk about all the budgets. It will be on November 7th at the 2 o'clock meeting. Then we will have a public hearing on the 28th to talk about property taxes. Between now and then, I'll be meeting with each of you to go over the options and figure out what we should plan for. Because that additional, if we decide to do something, that additional revenue will be rolled into the budget that we adopt on December 4th, hopefully. And then based upon that budget that we adopt, we will then certify the levy certification. We may do it at the December 4th meeting, but we have to do it by December 15th. And so your next legislative session after that would be the 12th, or before that would be the 12th. So that is the latest we can certify to the assessor how much that we are going to assess in property taxes for next year. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Bischoff? I'm not seeing any.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this
One quick question.
Commissioner Jordan?
December 4th. What's
Is 9 a.m. on the 4th would be the public hearing for the final budget adoption. If you do not adopt it at that date, you need to adopt it by December 11th because there is a 5-day grace, a 5 working day grace period to adopt it. So
we usually do the statutory day of that Monday.
okay?
So we do a special meeting here.
So any members of the public who want to let us know what they think have until December 4th to do so. Fair? Okay.
I would say probably before then, because you've got to get it into the budget, because we'll be approving the budget that morning.
Until, yeah, sooner the better.
So
Fair enough.
before Thanksgiving would be nice.
Some of us operate on deadlines.
yeah, so I would put the deadline for, any potential like midweek, the week before, just because, in order to get it in, I mean, you would probably, I would say the week before, because you'd want to talk about it with the commissioners. So we all agree.
I would say
with that,
prior
so.
to Thanksgiving so that you could talk about it at your November 28th meeting and give us direction and to prepare everything in time for it.
Yeah, because they've got to have all the numbers set and all of that for the resolutions and all of that.
Procrastinating does not help.
It does
right?
not.
Okay.
It will guarantee it not getting in. That's what that means. Because the numbers will all be set. Any other questions? Okay, so this is a public hearing item. So we had our public hearing at the last one and we continued. I will open it up for any public comment. I don't see anyone in the audience. Anyone online? Not seen anyone online. Second call. Not seen anyone in the audience or online. Third and final call. I will now close. I will continue the public hearing until our next public roundtable, which will be November 7th at 2 o'clock, of which will have the 2024 budget all funds roll up presented at that point in time. So yes, so if anyone from the public is watching or paying attention, if you'd like more information, please reach out. Randy Bischoff would be happy to get any more details. And if there's any questions or concerns on the budget, you can reach out to any of us commissioners.
And I just want to let everyone know that this presentation and the previous one have already been posted on our website. If you go under executive management, then under budget, and then you will find these presentations out there, in addition to the budget that you each received on September 5th.
Thank you. Okay. Then is there anything else to come before the board tonight? I've not seen anything from Mr. Simmons or Mr. Anderson. So with that, then I will adjourn the meeting and we'll see everybody. Well, we'll continue this meeting. I shouldn't adjourn. We need to continue this meeting until